According to the World Health Organization, India has the highest TB burden in the world, having an estimated incidence of 26.9 lakh cases in 2019. And despite having multiple programs for diagnosis and treatment of TB, the complete eradication is not achieved yet. And the main barrier in the process of eradication is the development of drug-resistant TB.
Our IGM team comes from Aizawl Berhampur, which is located on the serene coast of the Bay of Bengal of India. We present before you our this year's mission, CODEM, which stands for Cas Optimized Device for MDR-TB Detection.
In the month of April, our team came together to brainstorm ideas to use the power of synthetic biology. We found that TB is an extremely common infectious disease, prevalent in India as well as across the globe. TB is caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It becomes more problematic when the bacteria becomes resistant to the first-line drugs like isoniazid and rifampicin, both used for the treatment of TB. This happens due to mutations in the CATG and RPOB genes respectively. Culprits are inappropriate use of antimicrobial drugs or premature treatment interruptions. Due to this, it becomes very difficult to eradicate TB.
Antimicrobial resistance is a major threat to the global healthcare system. Globally, cases of MDR-TB occur in India, China, South America, South Africa, and the Russian Federation. In the current situation, the cases of MDR-TB are projected to grow, especially with the overuse of antibiotics in the duration of COVID-19 pandemic. We talked with an MDR-TB patient, Radhika Jagtap, who is also a strong advocate for awareness of MDR-TB in general mass. By interacting with her, we understood the importance of getting diagnosed at the right time and how the best way to deal with MDR-TB is to detect it early and start the treatment without losing time. The interview inspired us and made us realize the need for our detection kit. It motivated our team to continue and achieve a working prototype for our design.
We also interviewed Dr. Tahiruddin Sheikh from MKCG Medical Hospital about current methods used to detect MDR-TB. He informed us about the conventional methods and molecular methods. Conventional testing methods include culturing the bacteria on solid or liquid media to check the phenotype, which is time consuming. On the other hand, molecular testing methods like RT-PCR, expert MTP-RIR, and TrueNet tests are faster but are expensive. In 2018, India had an estimated 130,000 cases of MDR-TB, but only around 44% of them were diagnosed. This is also the case in countries with poor health infrastructure, where patients don't have access to proper diagnostic tools. Even the new WHO recommendations aim to speed up the detection process and improve the treatment outcome for MDR-TB patients.
So how can we solve this problem? Our team came up with a solution named Cas Optimized Device for MDR-TB detection, CODEM. It is a rapid molecular diagnostic kit to detect the presence of TB and differentiate MDR-TB. In our kit, we have proposed to use several biomolecular reactions and combine them into a novel approach for the detection of mutations present in MDR-TB. Our design is compact and cost-effective, making it easily accessible. To know the current situation of MDR-TB and find out the necessity of an early detection kit, we started with an epidemiological modeling.
Our epidemiological studies predicted the rise of MDR-TB cases in India and the world. We referred to several mathematical models of TB emergence in India, the Philippines, Russia, and South Africa. It was derived from these models that all these countries showed an increase in the number of MDR-TB cases. This is a grave issue, and the current scenario where antibiotics are being exploited more than ever due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic poses a risk of an upsurge in MDR-TB cases. Coupling the idea behind these models with our objective to show that early detection of MDR-TB can lead to lesser spread, rapid recovery, and decline in active MDR-TB cases, we built our model based on coupled ordinary differential equations. Our results clearly indicate that lower rates of no and late detection lead to lesser infection rates and the number of active cases. This helped us conclude that our novel detection technique can indeed help make India and the world TB free.
Enzyme kinetics is a great way to reveal useful information about an enzyme's function and its role in metabolism. As such, in our enzyme kinetic model, we made an attempt to find the minimum amount of various enzymes required to optimize a proposed diagnostic kit. For this, we made use of basic mathematics to derive equations by backtracing the endpoint. Our proposed model follows a 6-step process where we started out by assuming a threshold fluorescence value. This helped us in calculating the minimum amount of Cas14 and fluorescence quencher pair required and the amount of free gene required for our assay. This was followed by predicting the runtime for our LAMP reaction and finally simulating the graphs as shown on the right. This model immensely helped us in optimizing the assays and quantifying our experiments. Following the correct reaction amount and time has become exceedingly important to increase the accuracy of our results. Since MDR-TB has proven to have drastic impacts on human life, a good way to keep track and predict the strains that are likely to become prevalent in the future is to study the evolution of MDR-TB. For this, we performed an evolutionary study through a phylogenetic analysis for the two crucial genes that we have repeatedly used in our project, CADG and RPOB, whose mutations can cause MDR-TB. We also decided to go beyond and study the GYRA gene, which causes the deadly XDR-TB. To carry out this analysis, we used various software such as NCBI BLAST to get our sequences, a multiple sequence alignment program to align these sequences, IQ-tree to convert these sequences to a phylogenetic tree, and finally FigTree to help us visualize this tree. The simple idea we went with was that the strains with longer branches would have more number of substitutions per site and are bound to have a faster evolutionary rate compared to other strains. Our analysis showed us one major fast-evolving cluster in GYRA and more than one fast-evolving cluster in CADG and RPOB. This formed the central idea around predicting the possibility of these strains likely to be prevalent in the future. Interestingly, based on this, Mycobacterium tuberculosis strain TKK010051 from the CADG phylogeny was found to evolve the fastest along with sequences observed in RPOB and the GYRA trees. While it is not necessary for these observed fast-evolving strains to confer multi-drug resistance in the future, it cannot be ruled out that some of those mutations could also be key in developing the resistance against the first and the second line of drugs utilized for treatment. This also led us to predict that although these mutations may not currently be multi-drug resistant, they certainly have the potential to harbor such mutations and can evolve to become drug resistant in the near future.
But how will the actual kit work? For detection of MDR-TB using our kit, we have divided it into 4 parts: extraction of DNA from the sample, LAMP amplification, mutation detection using Cas14, and fluorescence detection using a hardware component. To make our kit convenient and less painful, we wanted to use non-invasive method for sample collection. Therefore, a sputum sample will be taken from a patient with TB symptoms for diagnosis. After this, the DNA from Mycobacterium tuberculosis will be extracted from the sputum. The sputum sample usually has a very low bacterial load, so to increase sensitivity of our assay, we'll be amplifying the extracted DNA using LAMP amplification. We chose LAMP for its minimal requirement. It just requires a water bath or a dry bath, and it also removes the need for thermal cycle, which helps us to significantly reduce the cost of the kit. In this step, if amplification occurs, it will be shown by a phenol-mediated color change. This color change will also confirm the presence of TB in the sample. But we aren't done yet. We are still left to confirm whether the patient is resistant to life-saving TB antibiotics.
So, after confirming the presence of TB, we will convert this amplified product into single standard form because this will enable Cas14 to efficiently detect mutations. We chose Cas14 enzyme for its miniature size and high accuracy of detecting mutations. Also, it does not require PAM to recognize and clip single standard DNA, making it flexible to use in experiments. Smaller Cas14 is also easier and cheaper to engineer in labs.
So to convert the LAMP product into single-stranded DNA, we will be using phosphorothioate primers. This primer modifies our DNA strand in such a way that oxygen atoms are replaced with sulfur, thus protecting it from degradation by T7-exonuclease. So when double-stranded DNA is treated with T7-exonuclease, the unmodified strand gets degraded and the modified strand stays intact, giving us single-stranded DNA as our product.
After this step, mutations will be detected with the help of Cas14 and single guide RNA complex. The single guide RNA guides Cas14 enzyme to recognize a target sequence by perfectly binding to it. Here, the mutation in CATG and RPOB genes are our target sequences. So, in the case of RPOB, synthetic single guide RNA will be designed to specifically detect and bind to the mutation in RPOB gene. This will activate the trans-cleavage activity of Cas14, which in turn will lead to separation of fluorophore and quencher in FQ pair, thus resulting in an emission of fluorescence signal. This fluorescence signal will be detected by our hardware component. In the fluorescence detector, we propose to replace the computer setup with a mobile phone, making it more accessible and easy to handle in remote areas where sophisticated diagnostic facilities are not easily available.
After receiving a suggestion from a researcher to do a proof of principle study, we planned a few experiments and ordered reagents. But due to COVID restrictions, we got lab access in the late September. Though we ordered the reagents early, they never arrived, so while waiting for the reagents, we performed some optimization experiments for our proof of concept study. For this, we designed a construct using BioBricks to express the recombinant Cas14 enzyme in the E. coli. The main component of this construct is the Cas14 coding sequence having a 6 histidine tag and a TEV site for easier purification. The guide RNAs needed to be designed must be specific to the mutated sequences that we are targeting, so that Cas14 recognizes the exact sequence. Hence, we designed 4 different constructs to express each type of single guide RNA. These guide RNAs contain 20 base pair spacer sequences which are specific to the wild type and muted CATG and RPOB gene sequences that guide the Cas14 enzyme on that sequence. We also did an in silico RE digest and performed gen runs for our constructs. We also used an electronic lamp simulator to test the sensitivity of our lamp primers. To optimize the fluorescence, as we didn't have access to the GFP, we used pure recombinant fluorescent protein (PNUS) and found that the signal to noise ratio of 1000 would be reached as a concentration of 0.4 micromoles.
Implementation is essential for any good research as it allows us to see the plans become a reality. We envision assembling an automated diagnostic toolkit that will not only detect TB but also MDR-TB. Our proposed design is portable, cost-effective, and doesn't require skilled workers. The automated design consists of 3 chambers: the pre-processing chamber, the lamp chamber, and the detection chamber. Cell lysis and isolation of DNA will take place in the pre-processing chamber. The lamp chamber will carry out the loop-mediated isothermal amplification reaction and allow the user to detect if the sample is TB positive or not. If found positive, the sample will be further transferred to the detection chip in the detection chamber, which will be loaded with T7 exonuclease, Cas14 plus guide RNA complex, and FQ pairs. The detection chamber will also consist of a laser whose beam will be directed to the chip with the help of mirrors. The detection of fluorescence will prove the presence of MDR-TB in the given sample. To detect fluorescence with the highest efficiency, we are planning to use a low-powered laser with a wavelength range between 480 to 500 nanometers, a mirror, an aperture, an interference filter, and a mobile phone. The laser will act as a light source so that fluorescence can be produced. The aperture will help us to adjust the intensity of light so that it can fall uniformly on the sample chip. The interference filter will filter out non-essential light to take up the maximum signal. The mobile phone will take multiple images and calculate the pixels present in the image, average them out to give an output, which is the presence or absence of fluorescence. Once we will assemble our hardware design, it will be made to go through some preliminary analysis. If it achieves a satisfactory result, it will be sent for clinical trials after proper approvals, including necessary biosafety documentation.
As our reagents arrive late and some will arrive soon, we have planned experiments for our proof of concept. We plan to express and extract Cas14 from chassis organism E. coli and then perform fluorophore-dependent sensitivity assay. We also plan to check the sensitivity of our lamp assay. Next, we will optimize the concentration of the reagent by combining data from the experiments and models. We soon hope to build a preliminary model for our kit.
Diagnosis alone cannot eliminate MDR-TB. It being an infectious disease, awareness plays a key factor in determining the rate at which it spreads. So one of the main mottos of our outreach and science communication activities was to ignite young minds about MDR-TB and how SynBio can help in eradication of it. We were successful in educating a large group of students about the use and importance of SynBio in today's world through a podcast series, The Synverse, and a comic strip collaboration, The Rise of the Phoenix. With a series of interactive posts and quizzes starting from what is IGM, followed by our project, its importance and outreach, we engaged more than thousands of people in our social media feed. A fun and engaging session, The Tale of Scrofula, was organized to sensitize school students about TB and MDR-TB. These young generations represent our future. Their exposure to social media as well as curiosity to know new things is much more. So we decided to run a trial test. Our hypothesis was that if the school students did not know about MDR-TB and its aspects, it is very unlikely that the general society would know more about it. So through the Tale of Scrofula, we did a survey and a whopping 43% did not know about the disease. This gave us the idea about the general awareness of the public regarding the disease, helping us to plan our outreach and to spread the word about SynBio and how it may successfully eliminate MDR-TB. We distributed booklets amongst the general mass. It served a dual purpose for drawing people's attention to MDR-TB and SynBio, as well as informing them about the basic protocol they should follow if they contract the disease. For people and students who wish to join our efforts to eradicate MDR-TB or are simply interested in it, we conducted a few talks on CRISPR, followed by its role in our project under IGCC. Like all other teams, we started our work on tenderfoot. Numerous interactions with researchers, doctors, and healthcare workers, pathologists shaped our project drastically. Our proposed project went through several modifications and changes, leading to a best modified model of our kit most suitable for common people. The interaction with scientists working on CRISPR and TB diagnosis helped us whenever we were stuck in our wet lab experiments, which shaped our wet lab protocols. It also helped in making our HP outreach strategies. Hence, we were able to organize a diverse amount of outreach activities related to our project. We left no stone unturned in approaching as many stakeholders as possible and getting their views on our project and implementing them.
Collaborations helped us to reach out to the farthest places. Our international collaborators helped us to understand the global scenario of MDR-TB. They helped us to adopt an easier communication strategy. Our social media collaborations helped us to reach out to more people globally, bringing a huge mass support for our purpose. We received an overwhelming aid in our fundraiser, which helped out in our outreach programs. We contacted MDR-TB patients too, to understand the grassroots level issues, hoping that there would be something we could do. For us, this project was not simply taken as a science project but a challenge. We wanted to help our country and the world in removing MDR-TB forever. Each of us here had one goal in mind: for future generations to remember this disease as something of the past.
We have been fortunate enough to have the guidance of very proactive and dedicated PI, mentors, and advisors. We are immensely thankful to IGM for providing such a great platform where we were able to work upon our ideas. We thank our institute, IISER Berhampur, in providing assistance wherever and whenever required. A special mention to our sponsors, SnapGene, New England Biolabs, GenScript, Integrated DNA Technologies, and Research Corporation Technologies.